Welcome back to ATVN. After picking up their second win of the season, the USC Trojans will face the number 21 Colorado Buffaloes this Saturday. The 2-3 Trojans are favored against the Buffaloes. However, this is the first time in over a decade that Colorado has been ranked in the top 25. The Buffs have racked up a few good wins this season, including one against Oregon on the road. The Buffaloes are putting up great offensive numbers so far this season. They are averaging 43 points per game, which is 18 points higher than USC's 25. However, history is on the side of the Trojans as they have never lost a game to Colorado in the 10 times they've played. The USC women's volleyball team is coming off back-to-back wins over the weekend and will face the Arizona State Sun Devils at home tomorrow night. Let's take a look at how these two teams match up. The Sun Devils will come into this game with a 7-9 overall record and a 0-4 conference record. The Sun Devils average about 12 kills per set, while USC is averaging about 13. Meanwhile, the Trojans are boasting a 10-5 overall record and are even in conference play at 2-2. The USC men's water polo team picked up a big win over the number 4 Pacific Tigers this past weekend, but once again there was one Trojan that stood out amongst the rest and took home an award. After a nice 15-7 win at home this past Saturday, the Trojans improved to 12-1, but the spotlight has to go to the Trojans' Lachlan Edwards, who was awarded the MPSF Player of the Week award, his second of the season. Edwards had a dominant weekend with 7 goals in 3 games and even had a hat trick against Pacific. Edwards and the Trojans will look to continue their dominant play when they take on Pepperdine at home this Friday. From the pool, we go to the hardwood, and no, I am not talking about volleyball. It's an exciting time for USC sports as the USC men's basketball team will begin practice this week. After an overachieving season, which included beating UCLA 3 separate times and an NCAA tournament berth, the men of Troy look to keep up the momentum for Andy Enfield, who is entering his 4th season as the Trojans head coach. However, after a series of departures by several key players, the Trojans were left with some holes to fill. Some crucial losses for the Trojans this past season include all Pac-12 shooting guard and current Los Angeles Laker Julian Jacobs, as well as power forward Nikola Jovanovic, who is currently playing for the Detroit Pistons. However, the Trojans will return their junior captain Jordan McLaughlin and sharpshooting big man Benny Boatwright. The MLB season is what many would describe as a marathon, a long 162-game season that runs from April through the hot summer and into October. But finally, after a long, grueling season, the MLB playoff picture is set and begins tonight. From David Ortiz's last playoffs to the Chicago Cubs trying to end the longest championship drought in sports history, there are some many interesting storylines to pay attention to. But with baseball, it's never easy to predict who will win it all, so we went around campus today to ask students who they think will win the World Series.
I think the Giants will win this year's World Series. I'm from the Bay Area, so that's why.
It's tough. I gotta go with the sentimental pick. I'm going with the Cubs. You look at what they've done this year compared to in past years where they've struggled, and I think just the energy that they're playing with, the energy that their fan base has. You look at home games, what impact that can play during postseason baseball can get pretty rowdy.
Dodgers all the way because I'm born and raised in LA and they're doing particularly well this season.
Playoff action has already begun tonight with the American League wildcard game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays. The score right now is the Baltimore Orioles leading the Blue Jays 2-1 in the top of the 5th. The winner of this game will play the Texas Rangers in the divisional series. Big news coming out of the tennis world today as the Court of Arbitration for Sport announced they have reduced the suspension for Maria Sharapova from 2 years to just 15 months. Sharapova was suspended after failing a drug test last March. Last week, I took the day off from my Something Strange segment, but not today. What I saw this week was too good to pass up, and if you're an MMA fan or even a fan of the Incredible Hulk, then this one is for you. Check it out. This right here is Ian Cutelaba, a fighter in the UFC. His nickname is the Hulk, and yes, you are seeing this correctly. He actually painted himself green for his fight press conference. Here's a news flash for you, Mr. Cutelaba. Halloween is 27 days away. Now, I can understand the passion there, but maybe next time, just wear a Hulk t-shirt and not paint your entire body green. I'm not sure how long it took for him to paint himself, but trust me, from experience, it's usually never worth it. Now, that right there, that's commitment to your character, I should say.
You know what? It totally is. And if you look at the girls behind him in the video, they are completely terrified as well, maybe even more scared than I was.
you really try to go for the intimidation factor in those pre-match environments. I guess green's the way to do it.
Green's the way to do it. Maybe he bought a whole 7 things of paint to do it. Who knows? Thank you so much, Jeff.